Yeah, beautiful cars. Beautiful rusty and derusted beauties, right? Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Beauties Garage, where we're working on all kinds of rusty and derusted beauties. Some of them start rusted and finish totally unrusted, like this one. Some of them start rusted and remain rusted even when they're ready. Some of them come derusted already, like this one for example. It's a non-rusty beauty, and this is the one that we're gonna be working on today. And if you've been on the channel more than a year, you probably remember this car. This is the one that we installed lots of good parts from good parts. We installed front and rear sway bars. We installed a header and stainless exhaust from good parts. And today we have some more good parts from good parts to install. So let me show you what we have. This, by the way, is vinyl wrap. It's not paint, and it is done really well. Dave, another Dave. All the cars that come here are owned by one or another Dave. Anyway, so Dave has even a hard top that is wrapped in the same color, and it is like beautiful. Anyway, this is what we have on the table today. We have an R200 differential, and we have a conversion kit from good parts that comes forward. So hold on, this is another story. So here we have some brackets and hardware and stuff that's gonna help us to install this R200 differential. And I'm gonna show you the modifications that are needed. Like, you can buy it from good parts already prepared for installation, but if you buy it separately, you need to do some modifications on it in order to make it fit to the car. And you can buy just the installation kit from Richard. We're gonna go through that later. And also what you need to do is you need to shorten your drive shaft by, I believe, 2¼ inches. Otherwise it's not gonna fit. So that has already been done. So Dave purchased another drive shaft, not the one on the car. In order to save me time here, he came prepared. He took care of his own differential, he's done the modifications that he could, and there's only one modification on this flange that we're gonna need to do here because it requires a lathe. So we're gonna do that, but he purchased another drive shaft and he shortened it already, so I don't need to waste the time with it. And along with that, we're gonna replace our sliding axles and with U-joints, the originals from the car. You know, that's a weak spot. The hubs are a weak spot on TR6s, so this is entire kit from good parts, which replaces the U-joints with CV joints and a new upgraded heavy-duty hub. And it also comes ready with these flanges for the R200 differential. For us, it should be basically just assembling, except of the little modification on the flange here. They've also sent oil. All these are baffles for the exhaust that we're gonna install as well. We also have a differential mount reinforcement kit, because that's also a weak spot on Triumphs, TR6s specifically, and TR4As with IRS. And he also purchased the other half. So this is for the front mounts. So he purchased the front and the rears. I've never done these, and I never needed to do this because usually this is not a weak spot, but we will see if we're gonna have to replace those or not. We also have a set of adjustable trailing arm brackets from good parts again. All these parts are from Richard Good. So we're gonna replace the trailing arm brackets because originally they're not adjustable, but Richard developed these adjustable ones, which are great. You can adjust your camber. And last but not least, we have synchro rings here and a gasket kit for the transmission. I wonder what's going on. Well, Dave blew synchro on second gear, so we're hoping it's only that. It's not also the top hat bushing, but we'll see. And we're gonna have to take the transmission out and replace them. But as you can see here, these are not our regular brass or bronze or whatever synchros. These are actually steel. There's somebody who makes them in the States, so I'm gonna put the details here. I'm sorry I can't remember it by heart, but I'm gonna give you the information. So these are like they're gonna last much longer than the ones that you the regular ones that you buy from all the British part suppliers. So, and we're gonna start today with removing the transmission and taking it apart, because God forbid we require parts for that. We're gonna need some time to get them. For the rest of the project, I believe we have all the parts, we don't need anything, but only the transmission is a little bit of a questionable. So that's why I wanna take it apart first. Dave already took the dash support out and all the wiring there, so that's a great help of him. He's really considerate of my time. It's not like he's cheap and he just tries to reduce the amount of hours I spend on the car, so he doesn't want to pay me. He knows that I want the cars in and out because I have other cars waiting, so he's saving me time. He's not saving himself money. Like, that's gonna save him money, of course, but that's not his main goal here. So that's really helpful of him. Okay, we have the transmission cover out almost and that took like literally half an hour instead of hour and a half normally that it takes me to just take the transmission cover out. But here we have a small problem. So I installed on this car a O2 sensor, which is right there. So when I installed it, I fished it through the hole here on the transmission cover and I just left it hanging inside. Well, how I did it though was, looks like I put the sensor through here and then put it on the exhaust. But now if I want to take it out, I can't put the connector through. And I was thinking I should make the hole a little bit bigger instead of disturbing the actual sensor. But now when I look at it, it is in my way there. I can't remove the transmission without unbolting the sensor. So looks like that's the next thing. We're gonna put the car in the air and we're gonna remove the sensor from there. And Dave was saying that there's few leaks from the overdrive. This overdrive he purchased as a unit with the transmission and somebody else installed it for him. And now I'm looking, I don't know if they took it apart, if they serviced it, but I'm looking at this gasket maker everywhere. I don't know. Looks like we have leaks from the three, not the three stooges, the three O-rings here. Like, I don't know. We're gonna have to inspect it really well, because now that we're gonna be taking it apart, we should be able to fix whatever leaks we have. But for now, I'm looking at this oil here, and I don't know, is it coming from above? Maybe not, because not everything is oily. So maybe it's just the cover underneath. I don't know. We will see. But let's deal with the O2 sensor first. Yeah, the usual leak from J-type. So J-types are prone to leaks, and I can't figure out from where. So is this from the gasket between the brake plate and the housings? Is it from the gasket on the cover? Is it from the solenoid? Can't really tell. Definitely the rear seal is dry. I got that just in case we need to replace it, but I don't think so. So yeah, here with the light. Unfortunately, I think it's from the brake plate. Anyways, while it is out, we're gonna change this gasket and we're gonna tighten the solenoid. But other than that, I don't know. The O-rings up there we're gonna check, and that's it. Here in the front, that's probably engine the rear engine seal, because it's, I don't know, that's the problem. Once upon a time people were using gear oil in their transmissions and you can smell it. Here you can't tell whether this is from the transmission or from the engine, right? Oh yeah, this bung we installed there for oil return, for oil separator. And here, let me show you a little bit. I believe we installed this heavy duty sway bar with these links with hard mounts. This is the stainless header, the O2 sensor adapter here, and then the stainless exhausts from Good Parts. It's the style of the original TR6, but it is bigger pipes and it's stainless, so it is really good. Well, we're gonna have to take it out, so I'm thinking we're gonna undo it from here, I guess. And David said that it's rattling somewhere, so we're gonna have to figure out where. Here probably. Yeah, I guess here. So that's the other thing that we installed, the rear sway bar, which normally TR6 doesn't have, with all the mounts, the links and everything. And I don't remember if we installed anything else here, but so I'm gonna go remove the O2 sensor now, and we're gonna go from there. Okay, the O2 sensor is out, and while we were here I took the opportunity to take most of the bolts from underneath, leaving just one between the bell housing and the engine plate, because if we remove all of them, the engine is gonna drop down and the transmission is gonna drop down, and we're gonna break the top bolts, you know. So we're gonna come back for this one later when the car is close to the ground, and we're gonna put a jack under the engine, we're gonna support it, and then we're gonna remove this bolt last. I also removed the clutch slave from here, just let it hang here. Somebody put spacers here. That's an old fix for these slave cylinders. You space them a little bit in and out, but a better fix is an adjustable rod. Then you don't need to space it from here. You can adjust the length of this rod, and I make my own. You can buy them, but I make my own. I just cut the rod here, and then I weld to the fork one of these coupler nuts, and then on the rod I make threads, and then it can be expanded and contracted as needed. Anyway, the other thing I did here was I disconnected the angle drive from the transmission, from the speedometer gear there, and we're almost done underneath. The only thing is this bolt when we have a support for the engine. I was thinking I should make, not now, but at some point I should make some cradle for TR6, that because I do lots of TR6 transmission removals. So if I make a cradle that is supported somehow on the frame here and here, and it comes like 4 or 5 inches under the oil pan, then I can put a scissor jack on the cradle and jack up the engine, and this way there's going to be a support at the rear of the engine, adjustable, because when we are installing the transmission back, it's tricky and the height needs to be adjusted up, down, until we are able to put the input shaft of the transmission through the clutch splice. So it needs to be adjustable, but not now. Someday I'm gonna do that. Anyway, I'm gonna drop the car down now, and we're gonna start undoing the upper bolts here and the drive shaft. And while we are up there, we're gonna open the bonnet. I didn't show you something else in this engine bay. Okay, look what we have here. A pair of Mikuni carburetors. So I never ever dealt with Mikuni, but apparently Dave is really happy with them. So anyway, just wanted to show you something different. I've never seen Mikunis installed before. I've heard of them, but never seen them installed. Here is the oil separator that I was talking about. I was showing you the bung down there. So anyways, just wanted to show you that. All right, now I have to figure out how to reach here and undo the top bolts of the transmission and get it ready for removal. Okay, so the drive shaft is disconnected, and I removed all the bolts here inside that are on the left and on the right, including the starter motor bolts. So now we only have 3 on top there. I know it's dark, you don't see them, and 1 under there that are holding the bell housing together. Now I'm gonna lower the car, and again we're gonna support the engine from underneath with a jack, and we're gonna raise the rear end of the transmission, and we're gonna remove this bracket from here, and we should be able to slide the transmission out. Now the problem with this bracket here is with J-type. The way the J-type overdrive mounts is like there are bolts that hold the transmission to this bracket from under here. There are actually studs and nuts on them underneath. To get to this, you have to get rid of these. To get rid of this, you need to raise the transmission out, but these two are on an angle towards each other. You can see the other one deep there. So you can't just raise it up because it wedges itself. So you have to, okay, the light just died, sorry. So you have to kind of loosen these, raise the transmission a little bit, and remove these from underneath, but you can't completely remove the transmission with this bracket from these rubber mounts. They're flexible, but not that flexible that you should be able, it's really hard to remove it. What I do is I raise it as much as I can. I already removed the bolts that hold the bracket underneath, the horizontal bracket that's on the frame, but that also can't go too high because it is too wide. Let's go underneath now. You see, this is the bracket, so it can only go forward, it can go up together with the transmission. So it is so tricky here, everything needs to come apart. These you can't really reach from underneath to remove one. Like, I hate the way the J-type mounts. These bolts also, I just removed them. I'm sorry. These bolts also that hold the bracket here and here, I just removed them, but they're so hard to reach from inside. You can put a wrench on them and remove the nuts and then just push the bolts out, and then you can take them out. But when you have to put them in through this little hole here, it is so freaking hard. But when we get there, I'll show you a trick that I learned. Again, I have tricks for everything. I use a magnet. I put one of the flats of the bolt on a magnet, and with the magnet I reach from here and just put it down. But we're gonna do that together when the time comes. Yeah, so now I have no other option but to drop the car down, put a jack under the engine, raise the rear end of the transmission as far as it goes with when this bracket hits the floor here, and then try to disassemble this bracket from the transmission and from these bumpers at the same time. Before we do that though, I think we should remove the exhaust. I mean, not always you have to remove the exhaust when you're removing the transmission, but I think in this case it's a pretty solid pipe, and since we're going to be removing it for the diff repairs there, I think we can just remove it now and make our life easier. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to split it right here first from this place and remove the rear section, and there we should be able to take it out this way. I don't know if we're gonna be able, or if we just undo the 3 bolts there on the flange, are we gonna be able to pull it this way? I don't know, but definitely the flange is not gonna go through the t-shirt here. Also, this bracket is not gonna go through, but we can remove the bracket without splitting it here. I think these brackets, that's the problem with these brackets, that once you tighten them, they are tight. They make an indent here. This one didn't, but most of them just make an indent, and then you can split the 2 pipes. This one is a band type and it is much better, but I don't know, I'll see what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna get rid of the exhaust, so it's gonna be easier to lift the rear end. Otherwise, if we lift the rear end here, the exhaust will need to stay down while the rear end of the engine has to go up, together with the transmission, and we're gonna put too much tension on it. We don't want to do that. We don't want to break a stud on the head or something, so let's do it the safest way possible. All right, the exhaust is out, and I ended up also removing the rear sway bar because it was in the way. I couldn't remove the pipe. Everything is under the Miata. Now the Miata has dual exhaust. And now it is time to do what we said we would do, like lower the car, jack up the engine, and remove the rear bracket from the transmission. Now for that, I don't want to go all the way to the ground because I have to crawl underneath and remove that one bolt from the bell housing, right? But my lowest level on the lift, my max jacks, is right there in that hole, and that hole is midway from where it is now, and the next one is on the floor. I know I can drill more holes and add more options for safety locks, but I can never find time for that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put jack stands under the arms of the lock. Rusty and Beauty are being noisy. Rusty, move so we can see Beauty. Rusty. Okay, she's coming. Here she is. She's growing up really fast. Beauty. Hi, girl. Rusty and Beauty. Hi, girl. Hi. My hands are dirty, but you're so big now. You're growing so fast. Yes. Come say hi. Say hi. Hi. Yeah, my hands are super dirty. I don't want to touch you. Okay, go play with Rusty. Or just sit by Daddy. Okay. So anyways, where were we? So anyways, I'm just gonna put the jack stands under, so this way we can lower it safely to a different level other than the one provided by the lift. Oh, look at that. I was actually able to remove the two nuts on the two rubber bumpers and lifted the transmission as high as I could, and one of the bolts is almost out, which means that now we should be able to shift this bracket that way or the transmission this way, and then the other bolt is going to come out as well, because they are literally like that. So how do they come out? And even though these holes are slotted, it's not so easy. Okay, that one is still out, right? So now this bracket wise, it should be able to go down, just the bracket without the transmission, but something is holding it. There's a big gap underneath. Why can't it go down? Because the transmission is pushing against it, I guess. Huh? There go the threads. Okay, it came out with some force, I guess. Yeah, for real. We damaged the threads a little bit, but we're gonna clean them up with a dye, no problem. But we will see how we're gonna put it back. For now, I'm just gonna put my pry bar here, because now I have to relocate the jack. I put it right under the transmission, but now I'm gonna drop it and relocate it under the engine so we can pull the transmission out. Okay. Okay. Holy crap, I just realized my microphone was under my shirt, so if I sounded muffled in the previous clips, I'm sorry. All right, now I can go and remove the rest of the bolts, and we're gonna pull the transmission out. I'm gonna start with the one underneath, because until now, when we had the rear support and the front engine mount, the weight of the unit was trying to push it down, right, and open the bottom bolt. But now, since we have both supports here on the engine, now the transmission is trying to fall down, and now it's pulling on the top bolts and pushing on the bottom. So if I remove the bottom bolt now, nothing is gonna happen. But when I remove the top bolts, that's when it's gonna start coming down. So I'm still gonna put my pry bar here, just so it doesn't fall too low. And then we're gonna remove the bolts. Okay, now I'm gonna make sure that wiring is disconnected, just in case, so it don't catch on anything. I'm gonna hook it up around somewhere here. These wires here are okay. Okay, so we're good to pull it out. Now we're just gonna put something here to protect the floor and the seal and everything, and then we're gonna pull it out. Now there's this gentleman, a Canadian guy, Dr. Elin. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he invented some cradle here for the transmission that you assemble under the dash, and then you can use it to lift the transmission to the correct height. Kind of helps you to guide it through. But I think that's overkill. It's possible to do it with one person, but with two people it's not taking too long. So let me show you how I do it. So I go on both sides and I just shake it until it comes out. There you go. And once it comes out, it's easy to just drag it out like that. Of course, installing it back in is much harder, but this is not too bad either. There you go. And we are ready to take this baby apart. Whew. And now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drain the oil, of course. Okay. Let's see what's on that plug. Wow. Huh. Lots of shavings. Okay. I cleaned the plug and I'm gonna put it on temporarily again, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna stand the transmission on one end and we're gonna drain what's in the overdrive as well, because now in the overdrive there's quite a bit of oil. You'll see how much more it's gonna come after. So let's stand it for a while. Okay, now there's a little hole here, which is a vent, so it's gonna start leaking from there eventually. I'm surprised actually it doesn't leak from here. Probably this hole is plugged. There must be oil in it. There must be oil in the overdrive, so it should start leaking from here. All right, it's been like 7-8 minutes, not even a drop from here, which is surprising. But I'm sure some oil should have come from the overdrive. Yeah, look how much more oil we are draining now. I don't know why it's not coming through this hole. So we're gonna have to check that later. Okay, so now, first of all, let's get rid of the wires. So here on top we have two switches. This one is for third and fourth gear. This one is for second. On some transmissions, the one for second is here. It also works here, but this is usually used for the neutral safety switch and whatever. And this is the reverse one, because this is a J-type and only works on third and fourth gear. The one for second is not used, so they put a broken switch here just to cap the hole, I guess. So it's simple here. The power comes from the switch on the purple wire, goes into the third and fourth switch here, and then comes out the red one and goes to the solenoid. And these two other wires are for the reverse and connect here. So that's simple So we're gonna just unplug everything and remove it so it's out of the way. All right, I'm not sure how far you were with me because your battery died. So what we did so far was we removed these 8 bolts from here and removed the shifter by unscrewing a little screw from here, loosening this and turning this cap counterclockwise, and we pulled it out. As we pulled it out, I knew that I have to be careful about this pin. It came out and we lost it, but I found it, and then I lost it again. Oh no, it's here. So just so you know, in this hole here there's a spring, and then this pin goes like this, and it just that helps you when you select gears. It helps you to keep the shifter in the certain gear. It clicks into some holes there. Then now we're gonna continue by removing this cover, but the problem is they used silicone, so it's not that easy to take it out. Okay, so we're gonna use a little pry bar like this. There you go. I don't want to use a pry bar on this side unless we use it here. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So it doesn't look like it was leaking from the O-rings, which is good. Things look nice and clean. Let's take a look inside. Okay, so the synchro rings, how do you know if they're worn? If you push them against the gear that they belong to, this gap here needs to be more than 30 thou. And here, this is super small, it looks like. Let's see this one. Yeah, even this one is not too big, but it needs to be pushed firmly from all sides, you know. There's no good way to push firmly against it unless you push with the selector, but there still might be more. Because when I push with this selector towards second gear, it doesn't push the ring against it. I don't know why. You know what? Let's just take everything apart. Now this is gonna be fun splitting because of the silicone here. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave some of the bolts in, just this much, and we're gonna push on them so we can split this surface here like that, and then a pry bar here. Is that gonna work? No, maybe like that. We tricked it. Okay, so this is a J-type and it doesn't have springs. I mean, it has springs, but they are not like on the A-type where you take it out and everything falls apart. J-type is really nice this way. You just pull it out like this. The only thing that you have to be careful about when you are assembling it is the cam here for the pump. Other than that, the overdrive just remains in one piece. The only thing that we want to do on it is maybe change this gasket here and tighten the solenoid a little bit, because it's wet here, but I don't know where the oil is coming from. But for now, we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna take it away and we're gonna focus on the transmission. Now again, here you see on J-type, see here there's some holes, oil passages. On some of the manuals show that there's a spring, something like this actually. I just found this on the floor. So this is from a seat frame underneath. It holds the vinyl, but something like that goes over here and clicks in place. But not on all J-types. I don't know why. So this one doesn't have it. In fact, I haven't seen one with this, but there were few people who were asking me why I don't put the spring there. Because they don't come with a spring. I don't know why. So here we have a circlip that we need to remove so we can take out the cam. It's trying to come back in. You're not going back in, buddy. Not until we are done with you. Okay. It doesn't have direction. And there's a wood roof key that we want to take out as well. There you go. There's another circlip here now and a washer holding this bearing in place. This one is easier to remove, and this washer. And we're done on this side for now. Now let's deal with this side. Now the release bearing and the carrier came out automatically. Sometimes they won't come out because the pin underneath interferes with this bolt on the cover underneath. But here somehow it came out. Anyway, while we're here, we're gonna inspect them. So this has absolutely no noise and it's good. No chips. Sometimes this gets chipped here, which is not good. Also, there must be a pin right here that prevents it from spinning, because sometimes the carrier might start spinning on the sleeve here, and that's gonna cause excessive wear. So no chips, the pin is still here. Sometimes the bushings here and here get worn, but here we don't have any play. Also, this pin here is notorious for snapping, so people just drill another hole here and put a second pin for safety, just a bolt with a nut. But I find that the heavy duty ones that they started making at some point are working pretty well, so there's no need of second one. I usually don't install a second one unless the customers require. So here we're just gonna remove this from here. The original pins here are notorious for snapping, and when they snap, the shaft, the fork starts moving on the shaft a little bit back and forth, and then half of your pedal goes to eliminate the backlash here that is created by the broken pin, and only past half of the pedal motion you start actually pushing on the clutch plate. So if that's the case with your car, then most likely your pin is snapped. This is what the pin looks like. Yeah, and this looks like a new heavy duty one. So now the shaft should be able to slide out like this. There's no wear here. It's perfect. There's a spring here that we shouldn't lose. And there's two pins here on the fork that ride inside the carrier. Actually, it goes like this, right? Sometimes they form a flat here where they push on the carrier, but here they are good. These are replaceable. You just drill here from the side, push them out, and then press the new ones in and smash them with the hammer like this, so they're kind of riveted. Now let's take the covers out. Some of these bolts are, or all of them I think, are true bolts, so they need to have copper washers, and I see that they don't, because the other end of this bolt is right inside the case of the transmission. And they just have regular washers, which is not great. We're gonna replace those. Normally these are not hard to take out, but now because of the gasket maker that they put there, how am I supposed to take this out now? I have this special screwdriver, and it has nowhere to catch. Oh, here. caught on something. Wow. There's these slots on the side where I can put a scraper through. So hopefully I can shove it between that, but I don't want to cause more damage. Will this screwdriver fit? No. So just a regular screwdriver doesn't fit. Okay, it's time now to go. Finally. So apparently, just last year, I believe, this transmission was installed. So these are apparently new seals. I was gonna say, what the heck is that? Okay, so in order to remove this cluster from here, we need to pull the input shaft this way. It splits here, so this is part of the input shaft, and then from here up to there is the main shaft. So they just go and join together. But in order to pull the input shaft out in this direction, we have to drop the counter shaft underneath. We have to drop it down because these teeth here on the input shaft interfere with the first gear on the counter shaft, so you can't just pull it out. So to put it down, we need to, okay, I'm just gonna turn it around. We need to remove this plate from here and pull out. This is for the reverse, this is the counter shaft. So, and when we pull it out, the counter shaft is gonna drop down. Yeah, easy to say. Okay, can somebody hold it? Okay, that's what we're gonna do. No, let's not strip it. We're gonna use this impact screwdriver, which is a donation to the channel. There you go. Okay. So this is just a locking plate that we can slide out. Of course, everything is siliconed here. Like, why? Okay, and now if we push the shaft from the other side, it should come out here. Now, the bearings on the counter shaft, between the shaft and the gears, on the old TR3 transmissions, they are just rollers. So once you pull the shaft out, they just fall apart. These, I'm pretty sure, are cage bearings, so they won't fall apart. But even if they are the old ones, who cares? I mean, let them fall apart. We're gonna put them together again. Otherwise, you have to use a dummy shaft, which I don't think it's needed here right now. We might need to use a dummy shaft on the reassembling, but now it's good. So these also, when the bearings go bad, these shafts get worn right here and right here, but this one is good. So we're just inspecting everything as we take apart. So now the leg gear is down. It's not engaged with the input shaft and the gears. So now we can turn this back and we can pull the input shaft out. Sometimes it would come out easy. Not this one. So we can tap it gently with a pry bar that is bent like this a little bit. As long as we tap it here on the outer race of the bearing, it's all good. I mean, gently. If it gets stubborn, then we have to figure out a different way, because we're only pushing on one side and we might be like just taking it out crooked. But most of the cases it comes out easily, so let's see. There you go. So this is our input shaft. Bearing seems okay. People tell me all the time, why don't you change bearings when you're rebuilding transmissions? Well, if the bearing is okay, why do I need to change it? I mean, it's not noisy, there's no excessive play on it, there's no rust on it. So if they go bad, they either get rusty, and then as you spin them, you can feel it, you can hear it. You can hear the pits. Sometimes they develop pits on the ball bearings, or the race develops a pit somewhere inside, but then you're gonna feel it. Here, there's nothing wrong. Why would I change a bearing that is perfectly fine? Since I'm here, then why don't we just change the gear as well, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with it, no chips, no nothing. So, input shaft is out. We can take this bearing. This goes inside the input shaft here, and this is where the main bearing fits after. We can take this first synchro ring out, because it's gonna fall apart anyway. And this hub is gonna come out as well, but that's fine. So now what we have to do is, we have to pull this bearing in this direction. There's no way to go in that direction. It needs to come out this direction, but the shaft needs to go in. We can try to pull the bearing in this direction, like this actually. Okay, that worked. The problem is now, as we're pushing on the main shaft in the other direction, we're gonna push the bearing back in, but that's fine. This is telling me that the bearing is gonna come out easy, so we're gonna worry about that later. Now let's try to push the shaft in that direction. And I wish I could take the hub out, but it doesn't come out. There's no room to take it out. Not that we're not gonna take it apart later, but I just don't want it to fall apart on me here. So I'm just gonna dry this. I'm gonna take some masking tape and I'm gonna put it around this surface, and then I'm gonna take a hose clamp and I'm gonna put it over, just so it holds my hub like this. And the hub might fall apart too. The ring might slip out of the hub, but I think it's gonna be fine. And now I can stand it. I'm gonna take this lead hammer, which is not gonna damage the shaft, and we're gonna try gently. No, so we need a bigger hammer and piece of wood. Yeah, okay, now we are out. So now we can take the bearing out. Sometimes this bearing is stubborn, but this one we already checked and it is pretty good. So all we need is to be able to go under the circlip somehow. Really gently. Come out already, there you go. Okay, so this bearing is also nice and smooth. So now we can take the main shaft out with all the gears. And this is how it comes out. This reverse gear is tricking me here. Okay, it's out. Now, the counter shaft in our case doesn't really need to come out, but we will take it out to inspect the two thrust washers and to check it for damaged teeth and all that. So first of all, we have to take out the reverse gear from here. So the shaft comes out this way. The gear, you can notice how it is with the channel towards the rear of the transmission and the gear on the front. So the shaft, again, immediately we're going to inspect it for wear. There's no wear on it. Perfect. The gear, the bushing inside doesn't seem worn. No play. No broken teeth. And the end of the teeth also. That's they engage with these teeth here, and so we have to look at the tips of the teeth. They look good, and that's it. So now we can take the counter shaft out, and there's 2 thrust washers on the side. I'm gonna take the thrust washer out first to make some room. Yeah, this thrust washer doesn't look bad. Now we should be able to take this out. Yeah, they look good. And these are the cage bearings on the side. So on the TR3, they just fall apart. And we have a bow inside. So that's from one of the hubs, but probably it came out, yeah, it came out now when we were taking it apart. There's one more here. And what is this? A zip tie? That's interesting. Okay, the housing just needs to be cleaned. We're just gonna take a quick look at the surface here. The thrust bearing surface, it looks good on both sides. So just needs to be cleaned, surface is cleaned and ready to go back. Now here, let's take the clamp out, and we can take out most of the gears from here. There's only one that is tricky. So you see, this is the hub that came apart. Where's the third bow? So the spring is here, this spring is here, and this spring is here, but one bow is missing. This was the synchro ring for 4th gear. This is the one for 3rd. They're not going back. Now this gear, before we take this out, there's a special circlip here that requires a special tool, but we can figure it out how to take it without a special tool. The rest of the gears come out this way. So this is first. It has a adjuster washer on this side. This is for thickness. It has a bushing inside. We're gonna check the bushings in the next video. The teeth here look okay. All the teeth on the outside look okay. Then the spacer again. And this is the synchro ring in question. That was the problematic one. No, that's the synchro ring for 1st, right? Okay, so this is the problematic one. This is the other hub. I'm gonna take them apart just to inspect them. We're still missing one bow. We have only 2 here. Oops. This is the problematic synchro. Yeah, now these gears have to come to the other in the other direction, but yeah, look, when I press it in, it is like, you know what, let's just for shits and giggles, let's put one of the new synchros. Just visually, this is how big the gap is with this one. And this is how big the gap is with this one. We can measure them, but that's gonna happen in the next video. For now, I just wanna take everything apart. So still one bow is missing. I have them, I have bows, but uh-oh. There's a broken part here. Where is that from? Oh, it's from this washer. Look at that. It is all broken. Do you see it here? Yeah. It is in many pieces. So the problem was not only the synchro ring. So let's take this apart now. Now here, this is the special washer, special circlip that requires a special tool to come out, because you see there's no way to grab it and it goes under these splines, right? So there's a special tool that you put, and it has multiple teeth that fit inside, and they just open the circlip all at the same time. But of course I don't own one. So what people do is they grab multiple screwdrivers and they shove one in each of these channels, like flat screwdrivers, and it works somehow. But I think I have an easier trick up my sleeve. It's important to lift one end. Once I lift one end, I'm good to go. That's the tricky part in the beginning, just to lift one end up and put a screwdriver under it. But this one, okay, it's almost there actually. Oh, that wasn't that hard. So now we want to put a screwdriver. Okay, so now what we want to do is go a few teeth, go a few splines ahead. So here it is released from the channel under the spline, you see? Even here it is released. Here, this spline is now holding it. So I'm gonna go all the way here on this side, and I'm gonna pull the whole washer. Oh, I'm gonna turn it more for you. So you see, these splines are released here. This spline is released. Here we are released. This is the one that is not released. So I'm gonna put my screwdriver all the way here, and I'm gonna pull the whole washer in this direction. And now I can lift more. You see? And this is still not released, so I'm gonna keep going until I make sure that this stays out. You see, now it is out, and I can actually lift even more. And now this one is holding. So I'm gonna turn it towards you now more, so you can see. Now I'm gonna pull on this one. There you go. It's out here now, and I can push with this screwdriver more, and there's two more now. So now the last one is tricky because I didn't give myself room on this side. I should have left it so it is halfway here, so I can put and lift, but the end is too far in that direction, so I have to go with this end, but that's fine still. Can I push it in that direction so it comes off the spline? Yeah. There you go. And that's it. From here it's easy. So no special tools required. This is your special tool. I wish I was special. So very special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Okay, never to be found again. Don't worry, found it, don't look for it. So these are fine, these can be reused. There's a similar thing though, a smaller circlip on the GT6 and Spitfire transmissions. Those ones I never reuse. I just throw them away because they snap. They break and then they give you so much trouble. These ones I've never seen one snap, so it's good. So now third gear can come out, and this is a special washer here. You see it's a dished washer with these teeth that fit inside the splines. And the third gear comes out together with its bushing. So we're gonna measure this in the next video to see protrusion and all that. And this is the notorious top hat bushing, which seems like it is seized to the shaft. Wow. Now let's take it out this way so we can keep this broken one on this side. So it looks like the top hat bushing is actually in one piece, only this washer on this side is broken, but looks like the edges of the broken piece ground the end of the top hat bushing and ruined it, so it's not gonna do its job. It needs to protrude certain amount, but I think this amount is ground away now. Anyway, let's see if we can take it apart. Look at that, it won't come out. Okay, so looks like we're gonna have to press it out. Okay, so now here I wanted to put these like this so we don't press on any of these teeth or anything, but that's maybe we can do that. Yeah, okay. Shouldn't require too much force. Normally it should come out. The bushing should be spinning on the shaft anyway, so. Wow! There you go. And the pieces start coming out of the broken washer. Just gonna keep this for thickness to measure it, because we need to find the spare one. Okay, at least the shaft is not damaged, but you can tell that it was overheated at some point. But you can see how this bushing has been badly damaged. There's a ridge here, and I'm sure it's not going to protrude anymore. So we need a new top hat bushing, or at least another one. Okay, so this is our damage. On this side the bushing spins no problem, but this broken washer that was here ground it really bad. So yeah, it is garbage. Unfortunately, this bushing is garbage, and I don't understand why. We're gonna have to polish the shaft, I guess, but I don't know why did this bushing shrunk or whatever, but it is supposed to go easy all the way here and spin freely, but it doesn't. So that's our main problem, this washer and this top hat bushing need to be replaced, but let's just finish taking everything apart just so we can inspect it quickly. And on GT6 and Spitfire, the lay gear is in one piece. This one comes apart. So we can just take it apart quickly to see if everything looks good there. No damage anywhere. The splines here look good. No damage here. No broken teeth. And this is the spindle, I guess. And no broken teeth here. So here you go. Now this episode is becoming too long, so we're gonna end it here. But in the next one, we're gonna find another bushing for here and another washer. I have Dave's old transmission here he brought just in case I need any parts. So we either gonna take that transmission apart and take the parts that we need out. Hopefully they're in a good shape, but when he took the transmission out to replace it with the overdrive one, it was working fine, so it should be fine. I'm pretty sure I have used washer like this. I have multiple transmissions taken apart, so I have boxes of parts. I know for a fact that I don't have another top hat bushing, a used one in these parts, but I'm pretty sure I have a new one. And actually it is steel, so I might give Dave a call and decide whether it's worth taking the old transmission apart, or I can just sell him the new steel one. Anyway, so in the next episode we're gonna measure everything, all the tolerances here, protrusion of the bushings in all the gears, the overall end play, and then we're gonna assemble the transmission, and we should be done in the next episode. So I'm hoping you enjoyed this one. I hope I wasn't too annoying with all the details that I show, but many people say that they like too many details, so I'm like that. I'd like to show all the details. So anyways guys, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting my channel. It is really appreciated. I keep saying that, but I really mean it. It's not just a line that I say at the end of each video. I really mean it. Without you, I wouldn't be able to make those videos, at least not so detailed, and I wouldn't be able to invest so much time in them, because it takes a lot of time. So your support is what allows me to sit and edit these videos. Some videos take like 4 hours to edit, but some take like 10 to edit one single video when it is more specialized and I want to show how to do certain thing. So anyways, that's everything for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.